SportsCenter soars to new heights as March Madness peaks. College teams will stop at nothing for an NCAA bid. The Cardinals were hoping to lay clinch a round-trip ticket to Les Big Dance, while others were left up in the air.
Wide open take. Missed the shot. Missed a second. Tip. No good. And BYU wins it.
Elsewhere, the mailman tried to avoid a crash landing in New York. A first for the Von Poppel Express, while the Great One just keeps those points piling up. Don't be sad. There's plenty to cheer about, so take cover. SportsCenter's next. Welcome to SportsCenter. I'm Ann Montgomery along with Jim Bergamo. All of those fans that keep saying, we want UNLV, you have to wonder about them just a little bit. We'll get to that story a little bit later on. First, 5 more teams clinched NCAA berths on Saturday. We will begin with the Metro Conference.
And, you know, Ann, at the start of the season, Louisville took a streak of 46 consecutive winning seasons into the season. Incredible. And if Louisville could beat Florida State in the Metro Final Saturday, though, the Cardinals would finish 15-15 on the season and would become the first 500 team in 4 years to make the NCAA field. But the Seminoles had some motivation as well. Coach Pat Kennedy said all day long the networks kept talking about this game, and they never once mentioned Florida State. All the talk was about Louisville. Well, we'll see the talk.
And welcome back to our ESPN College Basketball Studios. The final day and the final game of championship week, and it's fitting. We end with the defending champions, both of the NCAA and of the Big West. Number 1, UNLV, taking on Fresno State in the championship game of the Big West, where Jerry Tarkanian has never lost in the town of Long Beach. He is 84-0 in that city, 52-0 at the Long Beach Arena, which sits nearby the Queen Mary. Fresno State, meanwhile, the number 7 seed in the conference, but the only time they got to the Big West Final, they did beat UNLV. That was back in 1984. It was a 2-point victory. Rick Pitino, what about Vegas? We've talked a lot about in the past couple of weeks whether or not they can compete with an NBA team.
Well, talk can feel safe against Fresno State. An NBA team, I'm not sure, but being an ex-NBA coach, I can tell you this. If you take the Charlotte Hornets and you take J.R. Reed, Mike Jaminski, and Johnny Newman up front, Muggsy Bogues and Rex Chapman, I believe Vegas can compete against the Charlotte Hornets and other expansion teams. As far as the rest of the NBA, maybe 1 victory out of 10. When I first heard it, I said, no way, it's apples and oranges. Now, after seeing Vegas, I think they could.
We both like them against Fresno State today. Meanwhile, some other scores in the Big Ten Conference. It's the final day of the regular season, and Ohio State, with possibly their top seed in jeopardy, trailing Iowa midway in the second half. Indiana has already won, beating Illinois by a final score of 70-58. Indiana could tie Ohio State if the Buckeyes lose that ball game. Interesting matchup, a battle of tempos here. And Princeton leading LMU at halftime. You can tell it's played at the Tigers' pace. They have doubled the score after 20 minutes. In the Big East, Seton Hall is the champion, 74-62 over Georgetown, the first ever title for the Pirates. In the Big Eight, this game still in progress, the championship game in Nebraska, trailing Missouri by 1 point with 8:45 to play in Kemper Arena. The ACC, Carolina came out aggressively, and now at halftime they have a 13-point lead over Duke. The Devils swept them during the regular season. Mid-American Conference Tournament. This was a game earlier on ESPN on Eastern Michigan. The top seed goes on into the NCAA tournament, the automatic bid, by beating Toledo. We'll have scores and highlights of some of those games at halftime. When you come back, it's off to Long Beach. Barry Tompkins and Mario Pellegrini, the Big West Championship game. Enjoy.
If you like to go fast, really fast, then ESPN Home Video has a new series of videos just for you. The Secrets of Speed. We take you behind the scenes to learn the inside driving and tuning secrets from the fastest in the business. Championship Motorcycle Racing. Fast Freddie Spencer reveals his secrets of motorcycle control on dirt, on the GP circuit, and on the road. Showroom Stock Racing, the Street Fighters, how to turn an absolutely stock automobile into a winning race car. The Unfair Advantage, a white-knuckle ride with the team that used all-wheel drive to revolutionize motor racing. Order your choice today for just $24.95 each. Call 1-800-422-1900. That's 1-800-422-1900 to order The Secrets of Speed from ESPN Home Video. Championship Motorcycle Racing, the Street Fighters, the Unfair Advantage. Call today. Tapes are going fast.
Well, I know the Run Rebels have beat Fresno State 13 times in a row. I know they've won 84 games in a row here at Long Beach. I know they've won 40 games in a row against anybody they've played. But I think Fresno State coach Gary Colson put it all into perspective when he said, this is the very last game of championship week. So what does that mean? We're no worse than 65th in the country. Hello, everybody. I'm Barry Tompkins, along with Mario Palladini. And Mario, you look at these matchups. 7th place in the conference for Fresno State, and UNLV, of course, #1 in the universe. But yet, just from an athletic point of view, Fresno seems to match up reasonably well.
Well, they really do. They may be the best athletes of the conference that's remained at this point. They're a great perimeter shooting basketball team.
They get a lot of help from a lot of people, but the one senior in their starting lineup, Dave Barnett, seems to be the settling force on this team.
And he's a man who has really stepped up. Here's a guy who's a converted two-guard, playing the point this year, has been on fire. Of those 14 field goals he's made, 9 of those have been big three-pointers.
And you talk about UNLV, of course. Every coach has a different theory on how you beat him. Nobody's been successful at it. You take Larry Johnson out of the game, you take Stacey Ogden out of the game, you take Anderson Hunt out of the game, take Greg Anthony out of the game. Somebody always steps up. In fact, it's usually more than one somebody.
They always do, even off the bench. But Friday night, for example, Ackles comes off the bench, has a big game. That's what you need to have. The great teams share the basketball. They have great chemistry and great balance. Look at the numbers. Tremendous distribution of the basketball. That's UNLV bunch is a special team.
Fresno State's offense triggers its defense, but I don't think there's any question about it. What really sets UNLV apart is its defense, which triggers its offense. Anytime the man has the ball, they will put pressure on the ball, they'll take away the passing lanes, and they release as soon as somebody touches the ball defensively.
And here they're doing it out of the zone defense. Most zones are kind of stagnant, not UNLV. Look at Spencer on the left side of your screen. The big guy goes way out to contest. Almost a steal by Gray inside. Always pressure on the ball, as you said. Always in the passing lane. And finally, they get the team to turn it over. Great outlet pass by Anthony. They're off to the races immediately on a turnover for the release, and even on a miss. Look at Hunt on the spot to finish the play off.
Always a trailer. Every aspect of the game of college basketball they seem to play without par. That's the reason they're #1. It's the reason they've won 40 in a row, and it's the reason they're odds on to win the whole thing again.
Michael?
Yeah.
Starts college next year.
Those lines.
When Mike told me the price of his first choice,
I know what you mean. I got this broker at Payne Weber. She put me in a 0 coupon.
to cover college.
Huh.
Well, when did she do that?
It's got to be 10, 11 years.
10 years ago? How did she know that's what you needed?
She asked.
Magic Moments, presented by Dodge. In 4 seasons, Vanderbilt's Barry Goheen became college basketball's version of the Mad Bomber. He was at his best while roaming the court's outer limits. 6 different times during his career, Goheen scored the winning points at the buzzer, once hitting 2 consecutive three-pointers in the final 5 seconds. With his great shooting range, opponents learned that Barry Goheen was always a threat to score in a magic moment.
V8 Power drove Gary Gelwick's home to a Dodge Dakota 4x4. For Rich Gallo, it was 6,500 pounds of towing. And for Tom Curtis, 2,000 pounds of payload muscle. The midsize Dakota V8, Peterson's 4-wheel 4x4 of the year. And with a new 4x4 Club Cab model, the best all-round pickup you can buy. Welcome home, America.
Now get total savings up to $4,370 on select Dodge trucks.
Here's another small business long-distance bill that's larger than it should be. A New Jersey money manager. And here's his 800 bill, with 12 clients calling from all over the country. His home bill. And this is what he paid this month for all this confusion. If this money manager switched to MCI Preferred, we'd organize all these bills into one. Discount the total and save him almost $1,000 this year alone. You can't manage money you don't have.
ESPN's presentation of Championship Week is brought to you by Dodge. For performance, quality, safety, and value, welcome home, America. And by Payne Weber. We believe our most important investment is an investment in relationships.
So we'll see what Fresno State can do to disrupt what seems to be a mission on the part of the UNLV Running Rebels to back up national championships. Let's take a look at what Fresno State brings to this dance. They are very balanced up front. 4 of their 5 starters averaging in double figures. Hooker had a great game yesterday against UOP, 26 points, and he had not been playing particularly well, so that bodes well for the Bulldogs with Bernard, Lambrick, Harris, and Barnett, the man of whom we spoke at the beginning of this program. He's the leading assist man, and Gary Colson, in his first year as head coach at Fresno State, he's won everywhere else. There is no reason in the world to think that he won't do the same given time at Fresno State. As to the running rebels of UNLV, Greg Anthony, and it's starting to become universal, and people feel the one man the Rebels could not afford to lose is Greg Anthony, with Hunt, Ackles, Johnson, Augment, and about 435 others who can come off the bench and score and play defense. And Jerry Tarkanian has done a masterful job with a team just loaded with talent. Let's take a look at the game notes in this one, Mario.
Well, for Fresno State, they're the last team that beat UNLV here at the NCAA championship in those days before it became the Big West Conference. And as we mentioned, Gary Colson, 500 career wins at Valdosta State Pepperdine in New Mexico. He's had great success everywhere he's gone. And for UNLV, 40 straight wins. It continues to go on. And the key, though, is this is the 3rd game in less than 40 hours for this team. One point to make mention here. Tarkanian pulled the starters early last night with 10 minutes to go. He doesn't usually do that. He knew he had an early game here today.
Yeah, Jerry will be as cautious as need be. And as you see, the Rebs lead the series 20-5, but they have won the last 13. A lot of red in this place. Of course, the red and white of Las Vegas and the red and white of Fresno State. And there's plenty of fans on both sides. Seems to be a preponderance of UNLV supporters here, though.
They always bring a big crowd from the desert. They make that drive here to Long Beach.
Set to go. And Fresno, we expect the first time they touch the ball, will hold it, try to get everybody to get their hands on it at least once, try to get into a rhythm. They left Anderson Hunt, but he didn't make them pay. They'll try it again. They missed everything that time, but they'll try it again. That's something Fresno can just not afford to do.
And let's see if Hunt tries it again.
0 for 3 to start things for Anderson Hunt. So immediately, the Bulldogs dodge a bullet.
They really did, and you made mention of it. The key point for Fresno State. Great shooting team from the outside, very small inside. They don't have any size. That's going to be a real key here today. They must shoot the basketball well early in the basketball game. And as you said, Barry, from the start, they're really trying to work the ball, get everybody to be able to touch it.
And Barnett misses the jumper. Ackles clears. They're going to have to shoot a high percentage because chances are they're only going to get one shot. They are really outsized up front. There's Johnson around Lambert. Missed the reverse, so they're 0 for their first 4. Here's Hooker, got a step. Good rejection, clean rejection. I believe it was Ackles.
Great, tremendous defensive transition, coast to coast.
Well, they're 1 for 6 and they lead.
Hopefully that's not a bad omen for Fresno State.
This is Harris. He got a little penetration too, the leaner.
Yeah, that was a tough shot, a little out of control that time, but Harris got it to go down. Big bucket early in the game now for Fresno.
I really believe, in talking with Gary Colson, he is just going to let the Bulldogs play. In case of dance with what brung you. If you're going to beat him, you got to outscore.
Fresno started a little boxing one. Now they're going back to a man. They run a lot of even defenses.
Anthony misses the 3, so they're 0 for 4 in three-point shooting to start things.
UNLV starting off in their straight man-to-man, tremendous pressure on the basketball, tremendous pressure in the passing lanes. They just make it difficult for you to be able to look and make a pass inside. Little 5-man motion game right now by Fresno State.
Barnett got a hand. Anthony got a hand on it. Bernard came away with it underneath. That's a lucky basket, but believe me, they'll take all of those they can get.
And they're going to need those. They're going to need all the opportunities, and they must convert inside.
in with Hooker on him. They will go box and one on occasion, on more than occasion. They'll do it quite a lot, I think, with Hooker playing Augman. They have to jump out at Hunt. They know that. Hunt penetrated nicely. That's going to be out of bounds off Augman.
So far, Fresno's doing a nice job defensively. They're playing very aggressive, and I think this is one of the keys that has helped them here in this tournament, is they've turned up their defensive intensity a notch. They can always put points on the board because they're a great scoring team, but they have not been known to be a defensive team.
It's a record of some sort. Las Vegas has only been behind this year for 38 minutes in the year.
And the largest margin was 6 points down at the Arkansas game.
That's right. They got a chance to equal that here.
Little zone right now by UNLV. They're 1-1-3 the matchup. They call it the amoeba.
Good ball movement. Left Hooker for three. Off the glass. Missed to the right side, but the long rebound to Bernard.
It's one of the keys when you play Fresno State, since they do shoot the ball from the outside. A lot of three-pointers. Long shots create long rebound opportunities. For Fresno, they must get and capitalize on those. However, that does open up the fast break transition opportunity for UNLV.
Fresno showing very good patience here. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. 20 seconds. Bad pass there. But they got back on defense pretty well, and that's something they also have to do. Foul reaching in on Harris. One of the things that Gary Colson said, as you look at the scores, first of all, out of the Big Eight, Missouri leading Nebraska, but of course Missouri can't go to the tournament. And North Carolina 18 over Duke.
Whoa!
Harris ahead of the pack. Fresno. 5-4.
They average 84 points a game. They love to get the ball in transition, break, and Harris, one of the better open court players you're going to see.
Just wanted to mention that what we were speaking of earlier, Anthony misses everything. Boy, their three-point shooting early in this game is atrocious.
Hey, I haven't seen him this off early in the game in a long, long time.
Gary Colson had said, from a coach's point of view, of course, there's all the conjecture of how good is this Las Vegas team, are they the best ever? Gary said, from a coach's point of view, this is the best team ever. And the reason is, they make you go back to basics. He said, when you start to prepare, as Bernard sticks at three, when they start to prepare to play UNLV, you have to start with, get the ball in.
That's right, inbounds, bring it up, take care of the basketball, nice, quick, sharp passes. And this crowd for Fresno is getting into it right now.
Boy, they're giving Anthony that three-point shot. He missed it badly again.
Wow, he is not even close. He's out of sync, and you can see a little frustration on him right now, and a good timeout being called at this point.
7-point lead by Fresno. That is as much as Las Vegas has been behind all year long. So for 4 minutes and 45 seconds at least, the folks in the Valley have something to cheer about.
Kristen Smith came home for the affordable fun of the new Dodge Shadow convertible. For John Janik, it was the affordable performance of his 2.5-liter Shadow ES Turbo. And for Amy Menifee, the standard driver's airbag in the economical new Shadow America. Shadow, the lowest-priced American car, with or without a top. Welcome home, America.
Now, get up to $1,500 cash back on select Dodge cars.
Certainly isn't the same old place.
No kidding.
I'm thinking of early retirement.
I'm not thinking about it. I'm doing it. 2 more years.
You can swing?
Yeah, my Payne Weber guy helped me out with it. Remember the stock money we got after the '84 buyout? He took it and restructured my entire portfolio.
How did he know you wanted out back then?
He asked.
My son, Jeff. Skateboard fanatic, music lover, guitarist, computer whiz, avid cyclist, football, basketball, hockey player, and all-star catcher. But there is one thing he'll drop everything for. Campbell's Chunky Soup. He loves it. Chunky has delicious chunks of vegetables and meat. And best of all, it's quick to satisfy. So Jeff can keep going without slowing down.
Campbell's Chunky Soup. The satisfying stop that keeps you going.
9-point run for Fresno State with 15-15 remaining first half. They lead by 7. Here's how they're doing it.
Well, they're doing it with patience. They're working the ball. They flash Bernard free throw line inside. Nothing there, kicks it out, and immediately he goes out to where he's tough. On the wing, three-point country drawing Larry Johnson way out, and that fall-away jumper is Todd Bernard's trademark.
UNLV 1 of 9 from the field, and that was a follow by George Ackles.
That's right, that was very early in the ballgame.
And they are inviting the three-point shot, particularly to Greg Anthony, which is something that Gary Colson is doing with intent. He said, you got to jump out at Anderson Hunt. You can't let him square up. But we'll be a little more lenient with Anthony. And so far, it's paid off. Nice pass to Hooker. The reverse misses. Ackles scooped the shot. Harris gets it back. Also, they get a few second chances. Hooker in and out. Lambert follows. Somebody forgot about him.
I'll tell you. UNLV is not going to the rebound end right now. 2 players for a very weak rebounding Fresno State team that time on the offensive glass.
And again, this is the largest deficit now by 3 that Vegas has had all year. 9-point deficit. 6, as you mentioned, was the most that against Arkansas.
Well, the key right now is they've decided to do what they do best. That's UNLV. That's to be able to look to the main man inside, because Johnson is one of the best at getting the inside position. Going up against the body in Lambrecht, not quick. Nice help that time by Bernard to come over, but they picked up the foul.
Well, that's another thing that Gary had said is no matter what kind of defense we play nor how we play it, we got 6'4" guarding 6'9".
Can't mistake that height disadvantage inside.
One shot.
What a job Larry Johnson has done for this UNLV team in bringing this chemistry together, the cohesiveness. I think he was the real key to last season when he came over as a transfer from Odessa Junior College, became a wee guy, very unselfish. The rest of the players responded.
He really is a catalyst for this team.
Look at the overplay by Johnson that time. See, he begins to get the intensity going. It usually takes one of these players to turn it up. Right now, it seems like Larry Johnson is turning it up on both ends of the floor.
He looks like one of those guys that really could score anytime he wants to. You get him the ball, he's going to take it to the basket. And the fact is, he can square up and shoot it pretty well, too.
That's an area of his game I think he's really improved upon, his ability to shoot it from the outside. Likes to look for that 3 from out top, too.
And it's not a bad percentage shot for him. They get it into Lambrecht. Nice move. Ackles gambled, went for the ball.
That's a great move by the big guy, showing us a little left-handed hook in there.
Ackles down on the blocks as they now think low. Second shot attempt by Ogden. Nice play by Stacey Ogden.
That's the versatility Ogden gets you. He can hurt you outside, inside, and he creates it when he goes inside on the offensive boards. Great man to have for UNLV.
They get it to Bernard. That's Ackles up over the top.
I like the way George Ackles has been playing, particularly in this tournament. Had a great night Friday night, and he's been the key man to help out defensively as well. This time sliding over, though, a little over-aggressive, and he picked up that foul.
Fresno State right now, one of those dangerous kinds of teams that really feels, despite the fact that they had a less than superb season, they really feel that they could beat anybody right now. Why not? They beat New Mexico State. That's not a bad team.
And they beat New Mexico State a week after they were blown out down in Las Cruces, where they trailed by as many as 35 in the ballgame down there.
Yeah, Gary said they were just embarrassed by that. He said, as a matter of fact, when they showed up for practice the Monday after that loss, Bernard out in front again, sticks the 3. When they showed up for practice, Gary said, I had my speech all prepared. He said, I never took it out of my pocket. He said they were just embarrassed by it. They knew what they had to do. And since that time, they've turned around.
They were embarrassed.
Ogden lean in. Johnson follow.
That's a little mismatch inside. Johnson got the inside position on the much smaller Carl Ray Harris.
Hooker traveled. Little stutter step before he started to the baseline.
Awarded to Las Vegas.
And a reminder that right after this game, 6:30 Eastern Time, the NCAA Tournament Selection Special. Chris Fowler in the studio with Dick Vitale, Rick Pitino, Jim Valvano, cast of thousands.
Fresno playing a real aggressive man-to-man right now, and in this situation, UNLV will try to penetrate inside. Little high-low game if they can from the wing, free throw line, and on in. Great steal by Barnett.
2-on-1. Barnett will take it all away and missed a shot and followed this too. He just cannot do that. There's the lob. Ogden the lean in. 4-point swing.
That's the reason why you must convert if you get the opportunity inside. Here's another attempt. And
Travel again. Juggle the ball. Good call.
Well, Gary's hot. He didn't like that call at all, I'll tell you. I haven't seen him that animated in the whole tournament.
It was a good call, I think.
Yeah, it was. But the key thing that you mentioned is they bury you on the opposite end if you don't hustle back in the defensive transition. Yeah, he slid that foot. That was a good call by Norm Barucki.
Anderson Hunt. Yes.
Three-point basket by Anderson Hunt. Three-point basket.
Three-point game, 16-13. Fresno State now has to keep its composure. It's a gut check time for them.
And this is something that they have been able to do in the first 2 games of the tournament against New Mexico State.
Crowd is in it also. Another turnover. But the Bulldogs get back defensively. Anderson Hunt. And Barnett controls it. Hunt 1 of 5 from 3-point range, but I promise he won't stop shooting.
No way. He is automatic. And when he gets his rhythm down and the stroke down like he had last night with 26 points, he's tough. Look at Bernard.
That's a tough shot. I'm sure that's a shot that Gary Colson would have rather not seen at that time.
Yeah, a little too quick that time. He had a good pace going early. Now it's going UNLV's pace.
Johnson down low, no help out. And when he gets it on the blocks like that, you can forget it. Elmore Spencer in the game for UNLV now. Gives him a little bit more bulk.
And again, it's been UNLV's defense that has created this run. They've really turned it up. Look at it.
There's another one. Forget about this one. Anthony. Example of what we spoke of at the beginning of the program, where as soon as the defensive man touches the ball, the off man releases.
They're the fastest transition team in college basketball, no doubt about it.
UNLV by a point. Anthony stepped in front again. They are fired up right now, and Gary Colson wants a timeout, if for no other reason than just to quiet the crowd, at least for a moment. 10:34 remaining first half. UNLV 17, Fresno State 16.
Shine a light on you, shine a light on me. Keep your Bud Light shining for everyone to see.
When you're looking good, you want Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up and never lets you down.
You can taste it, you can feel it. You know you got it right. 'Cause everything else is just a light. Just keep your Bud Light shining. Everything else is just a light. You got to shine on. Everything else is just a light.
The Accord 4-door sedan. We took a good idea and built on it. Introducing the Accord wagon from Honda.
Tony Post is wearing Rockport dress shoes. They're great-looking business shoes, but these shoes are so comfortable, they ran the marathon. They're engineered with Rockport comfort technology. They're lighter than most running shoes, and so shock-absorbent, Tony ran the 26 miles in 3 hours and 2 minutes. Rockports, the dress shoes so comfortable, they ran the marathon.
Rockports make you feel like walking.
Some scores now. Carolina pulling away from Duke 66-50 midway in the second half. Big Ten game. Ohio State continues to trail Iowa 69-65. And the Big 8 championship game, Missouri pulling away from Nebraska just a minute 25 to go. They have an 8-point lead. Back now to Barry and Mario in the Big West.
All right, thanks very much, Chris. 1-point game here, 17-16, but UNLV is on a roll, especially on the defensive end. And again, we emphasize their defense triggers their offense.
The numbers tell you right there what defense can do for them. Best defensive team in the country. They've been under-publicized about it. Finally, people are recognizing the fact that they can play the D.
You saw Spencer fly at Harris, and that did just enough to miss that shot.
And then Spencer releases on the break. He wants the ball down low.
Nice play by Lambrick, and there's Anthony again.
They have such great quickness with their hands. The entire team, tremendous athleticism for UNLV.
For 6 turnovers now, 4 of them in the last couple of minutes. Down low, hung in the air a little bit, just had to alter the shot. So Fresno State doing just enough again.
It was a good job by Lambrick, the big guy from Fresno that time, to be able to battle inside against Johnson and make him alter that shot a little bit. You don't see that happen very often.
Johnson stepped in front that time.
And what's happening right now, Barry, is that UNLV, with the emotion they have defensively, they're even pulling that defense even farther out. They're putting more pressure on the ball, farther away from the basket.
Lambert incidentally came away from the defensive end limping a little bit, was pawing at an ankle.
Here's Stacey Augmon against Hooker. Augmon, one of the best, if not the best, defensive player in the country.
Lambert down low to Bernard. Nice pass from Lambert. Bernard got it up and over Johnson and Spencer.
That was a great play by Bernard because he felt the defensive pressure, took the bounce, moved it out, got himself into a better position to score.
Bernard off very quickly as Spencer gets the ball down low.
Bernard with 10 quick points and 6 rebounds. They needed a big game out of him. They needed it early. Bernard's really a 3-man. He's been forced to play the 4 role, and here he is coming way out, bringing Larry Johnson way out. Ooh, bad shot by Barnett.
Once again, he had to alter it because Anthony jumped at him.
That's when you got to start showing the ball fake and putting it on the floor and driving baseline.
Spencer down low, really working Lambert, missed the shot. And Lambert
jump ball
tied him up for the jump ball, and the alternating possession going to Fresno.
Las Vegas number 44, George Ackles returns.
It's a nice 1-2 punch with Ackles and Spencer. They both come in for each other. You know, combined as a group, they average better than 14 points a game, so they really have given a real positive point inside to this UNLV bunch. Used to be that teams used to say, well, UNLV doesn't have big, strong center position players. Butler was the difference last year, and this year they've got Ackles, Spencer, and even Melvin Love.
And right now they're playing both Spencer and Ackles as Johnson went out.
Straight man-to-man. Look at they're bringing Spencer way out, having to guard Riddlespringer. There's a double team.
Oh, and a reach-in foul.
You know, UNLV gets away with a lot of this.
Missouri, as you see, beats Nebraska in the Big 8 final, but it'll still mean Nebraska going to the tournament. And probably a couple of other teams out of that conference, too, Oklahoma State. They're going to need some production out of Hooker, too. They haven't gotten much so far.
And he's been a guy who can really shoot the threes. We saw yesterday when he had 26 points in that victory. But they're going to show us a little patience here right now. Good look inside to Harris.
Oh. Too good. Too good.
Oh, my.
Anthony at the other end. Nice pass to Spencer for the jam.
Spencer.
If he's not one of the best point guards in the country, I don't know who is. And yet he doesn't get the recognition that he should. Greg Anthony, a creator, a penetrator, nice dish off inside.
Not to mention a terrific defensive player. Today, a perfect example of what Greg Anthony can do for you. He's not shooting the ball very well today. He's missed his first 3 or 4 shots, but he's playing great on the defensive end, and of course, he gave it up nicely that time. Here he is again. Stepped in front. That was Augmon that triggered that and finished it.
Basket by Stacey Augmon.
Defense.
It's always defense. Gary Colson shouting out motion. Let's go to our motion offense this time, see if we can try it. Anderson Hunt pressuring out top. Spencer way out top here against Riddlespringer. Overplay by Anthony. They're just constantly challenging the passing lanes. And there's Ackles stepping into a passing lane, forcing a turnover.
Just perfect. Just perfect. They make you start your offense way up by the timeline, then make you make cross-court passes that they just can't make.
Amazes me they're able to get the big guys like Ackles and Spencer to be so active.
Three-point basket by Stacey Augmon. Three-point basket.
Just like that, a 9-point Fresno lead has vanished to an 8-point Vegas lead. They're not even getting shots up now.
You can tell Fresno's out of sync right now. They're going to make a good move. They're going to bring Dave Barnett, their point guard, back in, try to settle this thing down a little bit.
He is, of course, the only senior in the starting lineup. They bring him back, and Gary Colson's team trails by 8. We'll be back.
How fresh is the seafood at the Fisherman's Broiler in the Palace Station? Well, the air freight companies consider us one of their best customers. There are a lot of ways to cook fish, but for great taste, there's only one way: grilled over mesquite wood. For the best seafood with the best taste at a great price, the Fisherman's Broiler.
Palace Station. Play the favorite. Taco Bell is 3 times better. With 3 new menus, are 3 times better. I tell you why. 3 low price and everything I like it just $59, $79, $99. Taco Supreme, not just Supreme. $59, $79, $99. Run for the bullet of the winner fencer. $59, $79, $99. Taco Bell is 3 times better. $59, $79, $99.
Proclaimed greatest of all time. Your chance to see Muhammad Ali in action in his controversial battle with Ken Norton. Relive Ali Norton 3, Sunday at 5:30 Eastern on ESPN.
A no-hitter for Dave Stewart. There's one. It's a no-hitter!
Beginning opening day, April 8th. If it happens in baseball, you'll see it on ESPN.
This telecast is an exclusive presentation of Creative Sports Marketing in association with ESPN. Any use, rebroadcast, or other transmission of this telecast without the written consent of Creative Sports Marketing and ESPN is prohibited.
Good job, Barry.
He told me to read it fast.
Almost as good as what's happening with UNLV's defense right now. That time, Ackles just rips it out of the air, kicks the outlet, and here's the creator. Little shake, cross dribble. That's a tough pass by Anthony going away from the basket and is able to get it past Bernard to Spencer that finishes off.
They are just all over the ball at the defensive end. You saw Johnson get a hand on the inbounds pass. Now look at where Harris is setting up the offense, way between the circles.
See, now they change it up because now UNLV goes back to their matchup zone. 1-1-3, the amoeba. What they do so well is they slide out. They really extend it. And they continue to put the kind of pressure on that they do in their man-to-man. Most zones are really kind of stagnant, and yet UNLV...
And I'm sure they'll give him that shot all day long if they want it. Riddlesberger gets it back underneath and wedged it up and in.
Basket by Pat Riddlesberger.
Can't believe Doug Harris took that shot from way out.
Anthony tried to rifle a pass to Ackles, just slipped off his hands.
What a job Jerry Tarkanian's done with this ball club, keeping them focused every game. They have not been complacent one time this entire season, and that's the mark of a tremendous coach. Now UNLV's back into their man-to-man.
Help out again by Ackles. Hooker lines up, sticks it.
3-point basket.
A good look that time.
Hooker.
Did a good job, a little
3-point
inside-outside game that time. And look how they come back, UNLV on the opposite end.
He traveled.
Currently
Ooh, he
violation
did.
on Las Vegas. Oh, we're in the Fresno
Again, though,
State.
an example of something else we touched upon, even off a made basket. There's no time to say, oh boy, you better get back. And that's what happened that time.
There's no rejoicing involved. You go to the practices and you watch UNLV play. They play 2.5 hours of defense. People don't believe that. They say, oh, they're running Rebels. Hey, they play defense, defense, and defense.
Well, there's no question that's what sets them apart. There have been good offensive basketball teams. Look at Barnett. Now, he thought about it, and he just sort of glimpsed Johnson coming at him. Harris floated it up and in. Nice effort.
Basket by Doug Harris.
The reason Barnett had to alter it is because of the quick hands of UNLV. They deflected it. He never had a good handle on the basketball.
Hunt won't go. And Fresno State, you've got to give this team credit. They had an 11-point run, and they gave up a 24-7 run, and now they're right back in it again. Trailed by a point.
Hunt really has not been the outside threat so far in his basketball game that he was last night.
Harris opened, but again, you saw somebody jump at him. He had to do something with it. 2 on nobody. Anthony.
Basket by Greg Anthony.
And even though Hunt is only 1 for 6 from the three-point land right now, he created that defensive play, and that's the chemistry that they have. If they happen to be struggling on one end of the game, they continue to pick it up elsewhere, whether it's rebounding, defense.
Down low to Harris. Nice pass by Maverick. Out the basket. You will not see that happen against the Rebels very much.
Number 12, Anderson.
Set there. Tom Davis, the doctor.
Las Vegas substitutions for Las Vegas.
Well, Jimmy Jackson's done a great job, but they struggle today.
North Carolina, it's not a surprise that they're winning that game, but by 25.
Good look as Harris just cut down the lane on a back cut, beat Anderson Hunt to the spot, went up quickly right away, and got the basket to go down.
I'll tell you what, regardless, you got to give Fresno State some credit.
There's no doubt about it. I like the fact that they're athletic, and that's the key thing. You must be athletic, I think, to be able to play with UNLV.
High to low. Oh, beautiful.
That's a great high motor. And again, here's Spencer off the bench, a part of it. They can just continue to change players no matter whom they are. They run the same offense and get the same results.
Harris, nice kick out for Bernard, too hard. Riddlesberger over the top of Everett Gray.
Pat Riddlesberger had a great game yesterday in the win over Pacific. He had to come in for Lambrecht, who was in foul trouble, and really did a tremendous job on Don Little, the big center from the University of Pacific.
And as he comes off, Gary Colson says, good job, why not? His team trails by only 3.
This is a tow truck. It makes your troubles go away. And this is a Civic 4-door from Honda. It also makes your troubles go away. But it won't cost you $10 a mile to do so.
What do you think? Here's a better idea.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome to the Bermuda Triangle.
No wonder nobody ever comes back.
In making an artistic statement, one's personal aroma shouldn't do the talking. So I use Right Guard Sport Stick with maximum protection. A true artiste should be known for inspiration, not perspiration. Right Guard Sport Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
Announcing something you've never seen before in an inexpensive Macintosh. Color.
Reminder to stay with us at halftime. We'll have some scores and highlights of some games that could shake up a lot of the seedings of the NCAA tournament on bracket day. Now back to Long Beach. Barry Tompkins, Mario Palladini.
All right, thank you, Chris. 3-point game. 3:16 left. UNLV leading, but Fresno State really the story of the first half. No question about it. And this man in particular.
They had to get Bernard going early, and give him credit. This is a different basketball team right now than they were early in the year, and a much different team than last season when they were 10 and 20 on the season. Same players, different attitude. That's what Gary Colson's brought to Fresno State.
Anthony tries a 3 and gets it.
3-point basket by Greg Anthony. 3-point basket.
Anthony has a quiet 7 points so far. A couple of them on breakaways.
Well, he started off really missing those 2 outside shots where he didn't even draw the iron. Little matchup zone again by UNLV. What they tried to do is right there. They like to go inside of the free throw line to Carl Ray Harris, who's very, very athletic.
But not as athletic as this man. Stacey Augman steps in front, running hook. Won't go, gets it back, tries it again. Blocked from behind by Bernard. And a reach-in foul call from behind on Everett Gray. Well, there's the final. 11th for Iowa over Ohio State, the number 2 ranked team in the country. North Carolina with 6:45 left They are just taking Duke apart.
Hooker replacing Doug Harris.
But Todd Bernard has been the difference in the game so far as Fresno is concerned, because they've not gotten a lot out of Hooker, who had 26 last night and 16 in the first half.
He's been real quiet, but Bernard's doing it on both ends. He's also going to the glass, and they really needed his help rebounding inside. He's the team's leading rebounder. He's not really a big guy, only 6'5".
Interesting situation that you spoke of just a moment ago, posting up Harris, a much smaller man, keeping the bigger Augment behind him.
Oh, he left Anthony wide open.
Kick out for Gray. And now the Bulldogs will run. This should be a gimme with Harris in front of the pack. Missed it. Barnett wisely backs it out.
Smart play by Barnett because he did back it out. They'll get back into their offense now against this zone. They position Harris right at the free throw line. You can see him there. And the reason the little guy is there, because he's very explosive and athletic. He can drive inside, but when you got Stacey Augment guarding you, you're forced to shoot it from outside. And Hooker finally puts one down.
Well, when he squares up, he sure got a nice stroke. Spencer down low. Spencer's been a big factor. 3 out of 4 coming off the bench with 6 points, and he'll go to the free throw line. Harris got himself a little bit too far under the basket on that stuff the last time.
Yeah, and he's known as the dunkster, too. I mean, he really loves to dunk, but, you know, he felt the defensive pressure. He felt Stacey Augment coming from behind, and you could see at the last minute, kind of glanced over his shoulder, feeling for the pressure from Augment.
How about Spencer Delight for Las Vegas, shooting 2.
Spencer at the free throw line now for 2 shots. With 1 minute and 22 seconds. Moral victory already, I think, for Fresno State.
Without a doubt. Undersized as they are. And really, they have not been on fire offensively from the outside like they were in the first 2 games of the tournament, where they shot better than 52% in each game.
But you know, the really scary thing is a team like Fresno State, they are good athletes, and they can't shoot the ball, and they get after you defensively. If they can keep it close 4, 5, 6 minutes into the second half, all of a sudden they start thinking, hey, we can win this thing.
That's it. You build confidence along with it. You know, the first time these 2 teams met, UNLV blew them open in the first half, but in the second half, Fresno came back, cut it to 10. They were playing up at the Selland Arena in Fresno. It was going wild, and yet they coughed it up a couple of times. And Harris took over.
Harris pushed Anthony. That was not a smart foul. You got to push him, at least push him in the crowd, not out there in the open.
Saw that a little bit yesterday as well with Harris. He's the best athlete on this team, and with all the intensity and the emotion that he plays with, sometimes he's got to learn to keep it within him.
1 minute left, first half. And a foul away from the ball called against Lindsay.
They bring Sammy Lindsay in. He's a shot blocker. Not a real strong guy. Has some height, but they're trying everything they can right now to be able to put a body on Larry Johnson. Of course, you need 2 and 3 bodies on Larry Johnson to have any luck with that.
Interesting, both teams have fouls to use. Nice play by Barnett to step in front. They can run this clock down as a 4-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
And that's what they're going to do. Now they're going to spread the floor and work it down. And UNLV will be in their zone as they do in this kind of a situation.
They won't challenge the ball quite yet. Now they'll come after it.
Fresno's got 3 good perimeter options right now. Hooker, Barnett, and Bernard, who's right down at the low post. They'll probably flash up here as we get closer to the end of the half.
10 seconds left on the shot clock. Harris got the penetration, took the baseline, kick out for Barnett. Barnett's 3, yes! I'd say that's a pretty good possession.
3-point basket.
3 seconds left. Rebels have a chance. Anthony off balance 3 won't go. We come to the end of the first half and a terrific half of basketball for Fresno State. And they are going to get themselves in one of those situations where all of a sudden they say, you know what? We just might be able to pull this thing off. Jerry Tarkanian obviously can't be a happy guy right at the moment. 1-point game, 34-33. And it's nice to be able to say, don't go away.
This is how easy it is to collate a mailing on an IBM laser printer. And how easy is it to collate with our major competitor? Probably now isn't the best time to ask. IBM laser printers. Suddenly, nothing else measures up.
From Gillette comes Sensor, the only razor that can sense and adjust to the individual needs of your face. Sensor blades are mounted on responsive springs to continuously sense and individually adjust to your face. The closest, safest, most comfortable Gillette Sensor, together with the richness of foamy shave cream for the best shave a man can get.
In 1989, the Honda Accord was the best-selling car in America. Let us repeat that. In 1990, the Honda Accord was the best-selling car in America. Thank you.
How about a little one-on-one?
I'm ready. Now, on this first-time ever Wheaties Game Box, you can shoot hoops with Michael Jordan. Nice shot. But you better get into the action before the Game Box is over.
Yes!
Okay, 2 out of 3.
ESPN presentation of Championship Week is brought to you by Honda, maker of fine quality automobiles. Test drive a Honda at your local dealer today. And by Right Guard, sports stick, antiperspirant, and deodorant. Anything less would be uncivilized.
Welcome to halftime. Got to say we're shocked. UNLV just with a 1-point lead over Fresno State in the Big West Championship game. The first 2 games in that tournament, they led by 15 points and 21 points, respectively, at halftime. So, Rick, we still got a ball game. Now, I know we were both surprised by that, but you had your eye on Larry Johnson in the first half, and you were comparing him to Charles Barkley.
His demeanor and the way he plays the game reminds me of the way he gets low post position in the paint is just incredible. As you look at this fast break, Larry Johnson runs almost to the baseline. He ducks back in, and look at the position he gets off a long pass. Nice curl pass to the post, and he finishes the play very strong.
He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he has a knack for getting his shot up. He can do the same thing in the NBA, you think?
No question about it. That wide body can do it. Now you have to spread the floor against Las Vegas. You really cannot allow them to pack it in. As you watch the backdoor play here, as the pass is made, notice the defensive player loses sight of the basketball. This is what you must do. You must go backdoor right at this point, and you've got your layup. Kansas did a lot of this last year in the preseason NIT. You have to do that, but you must spread the floor first.
And teams feel that if they can run the backdoor successfully, that might be a key to beating Vegas.
It's easier said than done because of the pressure Vegas puts on the ball.
Okay, let's go to the scoreboard now. Big 8 championship game. Nebraska taking on Missouri. Missouri playing a spoiler's role again because they can't go to the NCAA tournament. Nebraska off a couple of impressive wins already in the tournament. Norm Stewart, the dean of Big 8 coaches, directing traffic. Anthony Peeler to Doug Smith. Missouri had a 5-point lead at halftime. Second half, more of the same. Peeler again on Smith on the alley-oop. A monster day for Doug Smith, any knee, hoping for better luck with the three-pointers than he had with the tie selection today. Bo Reed responds with a three-pointer. Nebraska down 3, but Anthony Peeler, shot clock winding down, answers with a three-pointer of his own. That helps seal it, and Missouri goes on for a 90-82 victory over the Huskers. Smith, 31 points, and Missouri wins a 5th Big 8 title in the last 15 years. That's a Big 8 record, but that will have to be their only consolation as far as the postseason is concerned. Big East Championship, Georgetown and Seton Hall at Madison Square Garden. These teams, 2 of the best defensive teams in the country. You'd expect a defensive struggle. We got one. Look at the Big East action here. Typical Big East, about 8 players on the floor rolling around with the basketball right there, and John Thompson loves that kind of hustle. The Hoyas' Lamont Morgan drives, dishes to Mourning, has really been coming on the last few ball games. And then Joey Brown in the lane, little guy, a knack for getting the ball off in the crowd, lobs it up and in. But Seton Hall still led by a point at halftime. Second half, Oliver Taylor, the Pirates' hero in the postseason, drives. And look at the spinning layup right there. Meanwhile, Anthony Avett playing the strong post defense on Matambo, the 2 best centers in the Big East. Matambo gives him an elbow in the neck, but Avett held him to 8 points in the ballgame, and Brian Caver makes the steal, and he has the slam, and Caver, the strong newcomer for Seton Hall, and the Pirates win the Big East Championship by a final of 74-62, their first ever Big East title. And Rick, they go on to the NCAA tournament on a roll. How do you compare this team to the Final Four team?
Well, right now they're developing into a great NCAA hopeful. P.J. Colissimo has his rebuilding job done right now. Everybody expected him to take a year or two. Seton Hall's program is here to stay for the next 2 or 3 years. I think they're prime time, and I think they could be a dark horse for the Final Four.
They don't have the size, though, or the three-point shooting that Final Four team have. When we come back, we'll check in with some more scores and highlights. A shocker in the ACC as Duke takes on Carolina. At halftime, we got a shocker overall. Rebels just by 1.
Shine the lights on you, shine the lights on me. Keep your Bud Light shining for everyone to see. Shine the lights on this, shine the lights on that. Oh, shining all the others is where Bud Light's at.
When you're looking good, you want Bud Light. The clean, fresh taste won't fill you up and never lets you down.
You can taste it, you can feel it. You know you got it right. Everything else is just a light. Keep your Bud.
More and more men all over America are discovering a new way to relax. They're called Hager Easies. And they're the kind of pants that feel great for doing just about everything, or nothing at all. Because Hager Easies are cotton. So no matter what you're doing, you can feel comfortable just being yourself. Hager, a feel for America.
In trying to make an artistic statement, one should be careful not to let one's personal aroma do the talking. In order not to offend the critics, I recommend Right Guard Sports Stick. It provides maximum protection and the freshest scents, a sublime palette of odoriferous emanations. After all, a true artiste should be remembered for his inspiration, not his perspiration. Right Guard Sports Stick. Anything less would be uncivilized.
Mary Brody won't feel the tiny lump in her breast for another 2 years, but she'll discover it tomorrow after her first mammogram, thanks in part to a new X-ray film created by DuPont that makes it safer to start mammography early. And for Mary, early detection means a 2-year head start on the rest of her life. At DuPont, we make the things that make a difference.
The oldest conference tournament is in the ACC, and the two traditional powers, North Carolina and Duke, squaring off for the true ACC championship in Charlotte. Duke swept the regular season series, but that maybe bode well for Carolina in this ballgame. Bobby Hurley, superb yesterday, awful day today. Picking up the dribble, turning it over, Rick Fox lays it in at the other end. And then Hurley, who has sometimes had problems in his career against Carolina, throws the bad pass, it gets away. Hubert Davis comes in, converts it off the glass right there. Hurley, no points, 1 assist, 5 turnovers in the first half. Meanwhile, excellent defense. Thomas Hill never sees Derek Phelps with a block right there. Then Rice to Rick Fox, the Carolina backdoor, and the dunk by Fox there. And Coach K trying to fire his ball club up. This was trouble from the beginning, 92-72. Rick Fox has 21 points, a minute and a half to play in this ballgame. Carolina apparently on their way to the top seed in the East Regional. Now, shifting gears to the Big Ten. Ohio State comes in ranked number 2, taking on Iowa, but the Buckeyes trying to avoid their second loss this week. It's going to be tough, and Jamal Brown of the Buckeyes trying to focus in on the Hawkeyes. There's a Jimmy Jackson who dunks over A.C. Earl on the foul, but Iowa would take over early. Kevin Smith to A.C. with a jam right there, and then James Winters will get a layup. And James Moses steals the inbound pass. Ohio State sloppy in the early going. Randy Ayers down by 9 points at halftime. Second half, Jamie Skelton, the layup, but A.C. Earl rejects it, leading shot blocker in the Big Ten. Then Rodell Davis, the pass in, lays it over Perry Carter. Davis would pay a price on that one, but the Buckeyes paid a bigger price. You see the bench, they lose it 80-69. The Hawkeyes now, if they were ever a bubble team, and we don't think they were at the start of the day, are now certainly in the tournament at 20-10. Meanwhile, Indiana taking on Illinois, and the Hoosiers, by winning this game and the Ohio State loss, a share of the Big Ten title if they can win this game in Illinois. Damon Bailey, the freshman for the Hoosiers, makes the steal and the jam. Indiana jumped out on top 24-9, an 18-4 run for Bobby Knight. The Illini struggling early. Brooks Taylor, yeah, he's short on, but a little bit short in the free throw. Eric Anderson nails the shot right here, 19-footer for Indiana. Lou Henson's team down big at halftime by 16. They tried to come back. Loose ball, Andy Kaufman, Larry Smith, to Deion Thomas for the alley-oop. They would get within 7 points. but the Hoosiers would not fold. Calvert Chaney goes the distance. Look at the ball control in the lane. Gets the layup, and Bobby Knight, before the game was actually over, salutes the crowd. Does not give the handshake to Lou Henson, or maybe he was just in dire need of a men's room right there. 70-58 is the final for Indiana. 12-point victory as Erica Anderson had 20 points. Let's take a look now what this effect will have on the top seeds. Here's our projected top 4 regional seeds. UNLV, of course, in the West. Indiana now taking over, we believe, the top seed because of Ohio State's 2 losses this week. Rick, Arkansas involved in a final against Texas, who think they would have to win that game to hold on to the seed. But what about Ohio State blowing a top seed today?
Yes, they do. Indiana probably goes to the top seed, and Ohio State has to be concerned with the way they're playing the last 4 days. Certainly, they've got to regroup. They're an outstanding basketball team, and Randy Diaz has got to get them ready.
They had the chance possibly to open up in Dayton if they'd had that top seed in the Midwest. We'll come back with still more scores and highlights on Championship Week. Toledo and Eastern Michigan battling for a berth in the NCAA tournament, plus other scores from the SEC and the Southwest Conference.
Looking to start out the new year in the Toyota of your choice of great savings? Well, you found it at Total Discount Toyota Week at Fletcher Jones Toyota. Right now, 91 sport trucks, 42 to choose from. This one only $69.95. Toyota 4Runners, 30 in stock. All with air, mini with sunroofs, AM/FM stereo cassette, and V6 power. This one only $16,995. Total Discount Toyota Week ends Saturday at Fletcher Jones Toyota on East Sahara near the Boulder Highway, where nobody's cheaper than Fletcher Jones.
When you're in 3rd grade and have a chance to meet and talk to the national champion running Rebels, what could be better? That's what the Horseshoe Stars is all about. It's a special program created by Dr. Lois Tarkanian and sponsored by the Binion family. It encourages Las Vegas 3rd graders to study, to stay in school, stay off drugs, and stay out of youth gangs. It gives them direct access to the running Rebels as role models and friends. Great stuff for any 3rd grader.
It's now a final in the ACC. Carolina is champion 96-74 over Duke. Mid-American Conference, Eastern Michigan, the top seed, gets the NCAA bid by beating Toledo by 1 point. Interesting battle of tempos in Jedwin Gym. Princeton beats LMU 76-48. LMU averaged 106 points during the season. Southeast Conference game, Tennessee and Alabama. The Volunteers, could they get in? They are tied with the Tide, 30-all in the first half. In the Southwest Conference game, battle of the top 2 seeds, Arkansas, the #1 seed, leading Texas 28-27 in the first half. Reminder that coming up at 6:30 Eastern Time, we'll have our NCAA Tournament Selection Special. A cast of thousands joining Rick Pitino and myself. You want to see it. It's going to be a comprehensive look at the seeds. When we come back, UNLV, just a 1-point lead over Fresno State. The second half follows after this.
Announcing something you've never seen before in an inexpensive Macintosh. Color.
About a little one-on-one.
I'm ready. Now, on this first time ever Wheaties Game Box, you can shoot hoops with Michael Jordan.
Nice shot.
But you better get into the action before the Game Box is over.
Yes!
Okay, 2 out of 3.
At Acura, we believe that the best way to discourage limited thinking is to design cars in an environment without limits. The NSX, precision-crafted performance from Acura.
Sharp.
To stay #1 in facts demands a whole new level of thinking.
Sharp thinking about business.
Sharp thinking led to breakthroughs like the world's first desktop full-color fax, adding new dimensions to the way you'll do business.
Sharp thinking.
It's created a complete line of plain paper fax that produce permanent laser-printed documents of unsurpassed quality. Sharp Fax, #1 in America. Because the way to meet new business needs with new technology is...
Sharp thinking about business.
Presentation of Championship Week is brought to you by Acura Automobiles. Experience precision-crafted performance. And by Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud.
Barry Tompkins with Mario Palladini. Yes, that's the right score here in the Big West Final. UNLV 34, Fresno State 33, and a couple of things strike me, Mario, at the end of the first 20 minutes. One is that UNLV has just not been able to shoot the three, and it isn't so much defensive pressure. They just have not been able to shoot it very well. And the other is that they are tied in rebounds, and Fresno State has been out-rebounded by, 5 or 6 a game all year long.
That's right, 6 is the average. And two things that Gary Colson told us he thought were the keys today. Fresno had to shoot a good field goal percentage early in the basketball game, and defensive rebounding was the second key. They're not a big basketball team, and as you mentioned, they're even with UNLV at the half.
They're playing big, I'll tell you that. Let's take a look at a couple of the highlights from the first half. Fresno State being very patient, nice ball movement.
They really work the ball around from the perimeter well because they spread the floor so well. That opens up the interior, and a nice look inside by Lambrecht. Bernard feels the defensive pressure on Johnson, but has the ability to put the ball on the floor, step it out, and then make that nice fall away that he's very, very famous for. Of course, UNLV, we talked about it a lot. Their defense creates their offense. Ogman challenging the pass. Anthony fills the passing lane, kicks it out, and Stacey Ogman, one of the best finishers on the break in college basketball.
Take a look at the team numbers, and again, what really jumps out at me is the rebounds, even at 17. Even the turnovers are pretty even. We've talked about Fresno State, or rather UNLV's defense, and yes, they've caused 10 turnovers, but Fresno's caused 8.
And look at the three-point shot. You've got Hunt and Anthony both. They've only made a combined of 2.
Here are the individual numbers. Todd Bernard, he's been on 10 for quite a while, and Hooker with the 2 threes. Those are the leading scorers for Fresno. Very balanced, as always, for UNLV. Stacey Ogman, Greg Anthony. A lot of those were on the break, though, off the defense. But again, as we mentioned at the very beginning of this program, there's a real different school of thought amongst these two coaches, whereas UNLV triggers the offense off the defense. Gary Colson says that his team's defense plays better when its offense is playing well.
That's right. His offense gets the energy going, and they go inside immediately to Johnson, who's had a very quiet first half, only 6 points. He gets it up to 8 now, but they've got to get Larry Johnson going inside. A little more of a gambling defense right now by UNLV. They're really extending the man-to-man.
They have been able to really break teams getting out of the blocks, both at the start of the game and at the start of the second half. And here's a chance for a little bit of a run for UNLV to start the second half and put a little distance between them and the Bulldogs. Anderson Hunt is short with another 3. And here's Bernard, 2 on 2, and let's see what Bernard does. Gonna wait.
He's gonna pull it out.
Lambert down low with a jump hook, goaltender.
Got to break that time. They really did, because they didn't have the numbers there. Look at Jerry Tarkanian.
I think what Jerry is saying, that ball wasn't going to go in no matter what, and I think he's right.
Here's the little jump hook, and it was going to be short. I mean, Ackles is pulling that ball away from the cylinder. It's not even near the cylinder.
I think Jerry had a good argument there. Overplaying Johnson was Lambert, and he's guilty of the foul.
I like what I'm seeing from UNLV at the starter, because they're going inside to Johnson. They got to get Larry down on the blocks to be able to get some of these people in foul trouble. Lambrecht in particular, who is in solely for defensive purposes. He's not an offensive threat for Fresno.
Ackles got position, made the shot.
That's good by George Ackles.
And they're going to tell Anthony, don't touch the ball after a made basket. The next time it'll be a tee.
Usually you see the opponents trying to do that to UNLV to try to slow them down a little bit. Gary Colson making the point there as well. Well, he's been working the refs hard here this afternoon.
Well, I'm sure Gary feels he needs any edge he can get. And there's stepping in front with Anthony, but it's out of bounds. Good defensive effort again.
Gary Colson's recognized as one of the best bench coaches around, and I think this tournament's been a real keynote for his abilities, taking his team in here, beating 11th ranked New Mexico State in the first game, and then beating the team in Pacific that was playing very well.
Little scoop shot by Hooker, won't go. One shot only, Ackles the rebound, outlet Anthony, here he comes. Penetration, kick out Hunt for 3. No. Ooh. Ogman a long rebound, they back it out.
Where Hunt's 1 for 8 from three-point land.
Nice pass, though. Lambert got a hand on it. Ogman gets it back, missed the putback. Johnson gets it, foul call. He draws a crowd, doesn't he? He is a crowd.
He takes up a crowd. Hunt gets cut baseline, tries to make a little bounce pass in there to Ogman, who can't get it to go down both times. And there's that big body inside. Lambrecht reaching up over the top, draws the foul for Fresno.
Nice play by Hooker. Good turnover, 3-on-1. Harris ahead of the pack.
Basket by Carl Ray Harris.
I'm going to tell you, Wilbur Hooker has some of the quickest hands you'll see defensively. He's known as a guy that when you bring the ball low, he'll strip it away, and he's took it away from Stacy Ogman that time.
Ogman floats across and makes the left-hander.
Here's the payback on Hooker.
They beat Vegas back that time, though. Here's Harris underneath. He's going to have to back it out.
Hard play. Watch out for the trap, though. Oh, there it is.
Barnett runs it down. UNLV has been so close to breaking this game open, but to the Bulldogs' credit, they just have not let them get away. And they've gotten a few breaks also.
Yeah, they have, but they've also been composed through this whole thing. Here they pop it up.
That was Johnson, 2-on-1, Hunt on the wing, give it to Ogman.
Basket by Stacy Ogman.
Big possession right here for Fresno State.
Got a 5-point deficit 3 minutes into the second half.
Hooker had a good look. Scoring for three. He's got 3 of them.
That's a great battle going right now with Hooker and Stacy Ogman.
Anthony all the way the other way. Foul call on Harris. Reached in before Lambrick swatted the shot away. Watch the ball movement again by UNLV the last time down the floor.
They started always off with a quick outlet pass, and they know where Anthony is on the floor. Look at this. Anthony doesn't even put the ball on the floor. One dribble. There was one dribble in that entire sequence, and that was won by Anderson Hunt. That's transition basketball.
They do it better than anybody. They do it better than anybody I've ever seen.
Mark Anthony at Live Las Vegas, sitting 2.
Anthony converts.
I really like the way Greg Anthony has continued to improve. He's a converted 2-guard. People forget. As a freshman at the University of Portland, he was a shooting guard, led the conference in scoring as a freshman of the year, and then made the transition at UNLV with the transfer, has become an outstanding floor leader. Trap right there, but they were smart able to kick it out. One thing Fresno has that's at their advantage, they are a good ball handling team on the perimeter.
Harris shook a man, floated it in. He shook Anthony nicely.
By Carl Ray Harris.
Anthony burns it back the other way. Hunt, the floater. Didn't have a good look that time. Loose ball picked up by Hooker. Here come the Bulldogs. UNLV got back quickly, and that was not a good pass by Hooker, but he did get it back on the baseline, took it to the basket, missed it, and the ball's goaltending.
Goaltending violation of Las Vegas. Basket credited to Dimitri Lambrick.
You gotta love Fresno's intensity. They are going at it. They are challenging this UNLV team. They are playing fearless basketball, and that's the way Gary Colson coaches this team. Hooker takes it inside the block, but Lambrick stays with it.
44-44. Right now, both teams playing pretty well, actually. Neither team backing off. Ackles, tough shot. Got it to go.
Basket by
well
George
defended.
Ackles.
And that's an area of the game that Ackles has really improved on. They've had him working back to the basket, learning to turn and face up.
Boy, I tell you, though, every time Fresno makes a pass, they got somebody in their pocket.
I like the versatility of bringing Bernard out top, because he can pull Larry Johnson away from the basket. Gives you a chance to get an offensive rebound.
Hooker in and out. The foul on Bernard up over the top of Ackles.
Foul number 33, Todd Bernard. Second personal, 4th team foul at Fresno State.
We'll take a timeout. 15:28 remaining. UNLV with the ball, leading by just 2. It's 46-44. We'll be back.
Over the years, man's fascination with flight has taken on a number of different expressions. The new Legend Coupe from Acura happens to be the latest.
Nothing beats being a fan. Nothing beats the sound of cheers. Nothing beats clean, crisp, and cold. Nothing beats the king of beers. Yeah, nothing. Nothing beats a bird. Yeah, nothing. Nothing beats a bird. Nothing. Nothing beats a Budweiser.
Ice cold Budweiser.
Nothing beats a Bud.
From Gillette comes Sensor, the only razor that can sense and adjust to the individual needs of your face. Sensor blades are mounted on responsive springs to continuously sense and individually adjust to your face. The closest, safest, most comfortable Gillette Sensor, together with the richness of foamy shave cream for the best shave a man can get.
UNLV 46, Fresno State. Boy, they pesty. They just will not go away. And Jerry Tarkanian is saying, why? I don't understand this. Nobody's done that all year. Even Arkansas.
Part of the problem may be that he forgot that that's his alma mater, Fresno State, and they're paying it back to him here this afternoon.
And as you mentioned earlier, Gary Colson working the officials here. That's that, who, me?
Yes.
What, me? I didn't say anything. Are you kidding?
Got that easygoing personality. What a character, I'll tell you, but what an outstanding coach, and what a great job he's doing already in his first year here at Fresno State.
There is not a doubt in my mind, but that he is going to win at Fresno State. Johnson, second try.
Basket by Larry Johnson.
People have been telling us all year long, well, you know, Fresno's going to be better in a couple of years. I'm saying, hey, they're better right now. He's already turned this program around.
Bernard had a shot blocked by Johnson. Here's a 2-on-1. Augment to Johnson. Forget it. And a foul call. Boy, talk about sacrificing your body. A reminder coming up 1 hour after we go away. It will be the most comprehensive look at the NC2A tournament selection. In our studio, Chris Fowler along with Dick Vitale. Rick Pitino will be there, cast of thousands to tell you all about it. We're really going to analyze it and kind of figure out who might have the best of it, who might have the worst of it. Jerry Tarkanian is supposed to join us right after this game to kind of give his look at things of how he sees the tournament. He's probably going to get either Georgia State or Coastal Carolina. Talk about good news, bad news for those schools. Georgia State says, yeah, we're in the tournament. We get UNLV first round.
That's not worth the airfare a lot of times.
That's at 6:30 Eastern time. Fresno 5 fouls already in this half. UNLV yet to commit its first.
Interesting point. Look at the defense. He gave up his dribble. Barnett, uncharacteristic. He'll give up the dribble that high out. That's where they can really put pressure on you and trap you.
Watch Augment play hooker. If you get a chance to just watch away from the ball. Augment shadowing hooker. I mean, literally, he is in his uniform.
Nice motion right now, though, by Fresno in their 5-man game.
Now, there's another case of having to change your shot. Bernard had a wide-open shot, but he saw Ackles had to do something with it. Anderson Hunt, 2 for 10.
Basket by Anderson Hunt.
Now, there's an instance where Hunt had a chance to get his feet set. If Anderson Hunt gets his feet set on the break, he is going to bury it. It's when he's on the run, he doesn't have the ability to get himself set and squared up, that he struggles a little bit.
Gary Colson wants a timeout. It's a good timeout. He needs to have his team keep contact. 52-44, UNLV. We'll be back.
Upon its introduction, the first Acura Legend set a new standard for performance sedans.
Some score updates. Alabama, the perennial finalists in the SEC, with a 3-point halftime lead over the upstart Vols. Southwest Conference, Arkansas leads by 5 late in the first half over Texas. Back to the Big West now.
Big West Conference, thank you.
And we are back. UNLV, the original Desert Storm. That's true. The air war continues here.
And the ground war as well.
That's true. 14 minutes, 8 seconds. And once again, we talked about a few moments ago that what an important possession it was for the Bulldogs. So is this one. Johnson, they're going to call that goaltending or a foul. They want the basket. I think Norm Barucki is just going to say foul. Gary Colson is incensed because he's not going to get the basket.
They really want the goaltending call, and he's pleading his case inside. Hooker makes a good job keeping the ball from going out of bounds, going up. Ooh, that looked like it should have gone.
Should have been. Gary with a good argument there, but remember in the first half, Tark had a good argument on one.
Yeah, they have a tendency to balance themselves out.
Hooker with one more. It's only the third free throw that Fresno State has shot in this game.
That tells you how difficult it is to go inside when you don't have the big people. That's what Fresno State lacks. They've been able to stay so close in this game.
That's Riddlesberger over the top. And that is the 16th foul. For Fresno, and there's a world of time, so they're going to start putting UNLV at the line with the next foul.
Question everybody always asks is, how do you defend against Larry Johnson inside? I mean, it's just so difficult because there's an example. He's able to get in body position in there, but if you're on his hip or slightly in front, forget it. He's going to go around you, face up, and shoot it.
Riddlesberger on that inbounds pass did everything he could, but there was no help out. Hooker penetration to the basket too hard, and once again, just the fact that they're there. Here's a turnover, the baseball pass. So credit Fresno really back on the defense bench.
It's a key thing that they wanted to point towards today, and give them credit that they've got an athletic guy like Carl Ray, who is so explosive down the floor, much like UNLV, but he could pick.
Defensive play by Greg Anthony. Bernard was thinking basket. Hunt. He's got it going now.
Three-point basket by Anderson Hunt.
He got his feet set again. If he's square with the feet set, he puts it down.
He wanted to say hello to everybody at Southwestern High School in Detroit. That's his alma mater. Made a point of coming over before the game and said, would you mind doing that?
Barry, right now you feel it. Fresno right on the edge of this basketball game. They can't let it get any farther behind. They've got to keep it as close as they can right now.
They were in a very similar situation in the middle of the first half, and they came back with an 11-point run. Ackles leaves, and Spencer comes back. Spencer was a big help off the bench for the Rebels in the first half. Here's Harris, right around Spencer.
Yes,
and count it. Big hoop.
It's good by Carl Ray Harris.
Earlier we talked about why they were putting Carl Ray Harris at the free throw line against the zone. This is the reason why. His ability to explode with that athleticism around the bigger guy, the slower guy, Spencer, and he put it in.
That was a nice play.
I tell you, Carl Ray Harris has really elevated his game. As I said, he's the most athletic player out here, but seeing him earlier in the season, he was not into it. He was not in sync offensively. He was good on the transition, but could not be able to play a solid half-court game. He's raised his level tremendously.
3 of 3 this half. He's got 10 points in the game, and he converts a three-point play, and he did it at absolutely the right time for Fresno State. They got it back to 8. Well, they're being tenacious. They clear out. They'll give Ogden that shot. He missed it. And here's Harris down amongst the trees.
That's the little Harris. That's Doug
right.
Harris, the freshman. Unbelievable. They list him at 6. No way is he 6 feet.
Now, we were saying earlier when you and I were standing on the court before we went on the air, we were looking at Fresno State coming out on the floor. Hooker to the basket. Too hard. Lambert tried the rebound. It wouldn't go. That's a tough miss. They needed that basket.
That's the second time Hooker's missed that identical shot on that spinning, driving layup.
We were saying that when Fresno State came out on the court, if that was a playground that they were playing at and UNLV came out after them, they'd say, off the court, kids.
They never get a chance to play.
Riddlesberger ties up Ogden.
Fresno State.
Gotta love the intensity of this Fresno State team, though. Riddlesberger, he's an offensive player. He's not a defensive guy, but today he's playing the defense. He's really battling in there.
He's the nephew of Harry Edwards, noted sociologist at the University of California. Authority on just about everything.
Great defense by Anderson Hunt on little Doug Harris out there. UNLV really extended their defense, bringing Spencer way out. And give Fresno credit. They're spreading the offense right out. Chance to look for some back cuts. Keep that motion going. That 5-man motion that can rotate through the key.
There's Harris again. Got in the air, made the basket, counted, he goes to the line.
That's just great patience by Fresno State in running their offense, executing the game plan that Gary Colson talked about. Little motion, they clear out, little sprint, takes it to the middle, and on the far corner of the baseline there, open is Harris with the athletic ability he has. Hey, he is fearless, challenging the big guy, Spencer.
And threw 2 fouls on him and converts the second three-point play in the last minute. And Ackles will come back and Johnson will sit now. So they'll go with Ackles and Spencer down low.
Barry, again, Fresno responds to the challenge. They're only down by 5.
Remarkable effort for Fresno. 6-point run, and that run is Harris.
A great defense by Hooker on Ogden that time.
They leave Anthony. He won't get it. That's going to be out of bounds, off, they say, of Augman. Harris hit it off of Augman, the other Harris.
I love the matchup right now. Augman and Hooker. They've been going at it all game long. Hooker's feeling the confidence right now. There he is, baseline. And again, they'll be patient here.
Harris behind a Riddlesberger screen. Back to Harris. He traveled, I believe. No, they got a foul.
Ooh, they missed the travel that time.
Very close. They got Augman.
But the key there, again, is getting the ball to your most athletic guy. Carl Ray Harris in the middle, small enough, compact, can drive and create inside. And that time, warded off that turnover and able to get the foul.
A short blow for Johnson as he comes back in a big hurry. They get Spencer out of there. It's going to be out of bounds off of Riddlesberger.
That's tough. Take a great effort and then you can't get the ball inbound and turn it over. It's a big possession change right now when you're only trailing, but Fresno is by 5.
There's Anderson Hunt again. He's got it going now. That's 3 in a row.
There's the difference. You lose a possible 2 to cut it to 3. Suddenly now you're down by 8 because Hunt buries the 3 from the outside.
Harris with a little penetration. Give it to the other Harris. Slam, miss. Oh.
Did Harris get up there? Carl Ray. Whew.
Got up there too much. He hit it off the back iron.
That's the second one he's blown today on those dunks.
Johnson flashes down low. You're not going to stop that.
By Barry Johnson.
Back to a 10-point game. Anthony stepped in front. Here's Harris, the reverse. Oh!
Basket by Carl Ray.
Like that one.
Is that guy fired up or what?
Harris and Johnson are both fired up. Now, Johnson for UNLV is playing possessed.
And you got to love the fearless attitude that Fresno State has. Harris just went right back at it again.
Johnson wants the ball right now.
Yeah, this is his time of the ball game. He's really working to get open inside.
Anthony, fall away? Yes.
Basket by Greg
Jump stop on the baseline. He does that so well. Comes to a complete square up baseline for that easy shot.
Low to Lambrick, off Lambrick.
The idea was right. The back cut was there, and Gary Colson's upset only that Lambrick couldn't get the handle on it. We might see a timeout here. No, he just waved it off.
Everett Gray, the penetration, and a leaner.
Basket by Everett Gray.
Here's Mr. Instant Offense off the bench, Everett Gray.
His first basket, Gary Colson wants a timeout. His team trails by 12. That's as much as they've trailed by, I believe, in the entire game. 9:13 remaining in this one. It's UNLV 66, Fresno State 54, and we'll be back right after this.
When you visit Arizona Charlie's, you can expect the warmest hospitality, the friendliest service, and the best values in Las Vegas. There's around-the-clock fun for everyone, from sports action you can bet on to cashing your paycheck and instantly winning up to $5,000. When it comes to entertainment, Arizona Charlie's Palace Grand Lounge features the hottest acts in town. Arizona Charlie's, a great place to stay, a great place to play. 740 South Decatur.
Why are a lot of people driving new GMC trucks these days? Mainly because they want a tough truck or van that isn't afraid of a little dirt. But they're also discovering that at Desert GMC, they can have fuel economy, power, and styling starting as low as $86.95. And with 8.9% financing and rebates up to $1,500, now there's only one question left.
What color would you like?
Visit one of the 3 Desert GMC truck dealers. New trucks for today's new lifestyles.
Hal and Jim Valvano have to say about the sensational field of 64.
Rock and roll! It's party time now!
The NCAA Tournament Selection Special, Sunday on ESPN.
Nolan Ryan is the 20th pitcher in Major League Baseball history to win 300 games.
Beginning opening day, April 8th. If it happens in baseball, you'll see it on ESPN.
66-54. UNLV now with a 12-point lead, their biggest, with 9:13 remaining. And the difference in the game, Mario, really has been the three-point shooting. But we talk about Johnson wanting the ball. Look at this.
He just pushes off inside to be able to get that inside position on Lambrick, who's really helpless in there once he's got you in that position to square up. And Carl Ray Harris, fearless, going up with that spin shot. I mean, that kid bopped the top of his head on the glass that time. What an athlete.
Hunt, after being 1 for 9 from three-point range, has hit his last 3. And UNLV now 4 of 12 in the game. Well, Hunt, I should say 4 of 12 in the game. Hooker with a good look, but Everett Gray got a hand on Hooker. He'll go to the line for 3.
And that's a late call, too, and that will be a big three, because with the foul coming outside of the three-point line, of course, the rule this year, he gets the 3 free throws. Nice bounce pass out to Hooker. Right there on the hand.
Fresno State shooting 3.
They called that one the foul, and it was a late call.
He did get a piece of the ball, but then he slapped him after that.
This guy Hooker led the conference in free throw percentage last season. This year he's
Las
third.
Vegas, number 32, Stacey Ogren.
Stacey Ogren comes back, and Everett Gray leaves. He gave him a couple of points while he was there. Not much off the bench, though, although Spencer helped UNLV in the first half.
That's one of the questions people say about UNLV is how deep are they really? Well, they're deep up front with Spencer coming off the bench, and Gray gives them some good offense. They're not deep, though, in the backcourt. A lot of teams try to attack that backcourt and get Hunt or Anthony into foul trouble.
All 3 at the line for Hooker. There's Hunt again. He's got 4 in a row.
Right basket by Anderson Hunt.
Sweet shooter.
Oh, what a stroke. Feet set, body square, automatic.
Barnett for 3. It was short. Ogman, outlet, Anderson Hunt, race to the basket. Hunt.
Anderson Hunt.
It's one of the few times today where Fresno has not had good defensive transition. Barnett, the point guard, took the shot, didn't release it in order to get back on Hunt, and he loves to kick it out automatic. He releases down the floor.
I'll tell you what, though, I've had Las Vegas probably about the 8th game of theirs that I've done this year, and Fresno has played them better than anybody I've seen.
I agree. Even New Mexico State at Las Cruces, that game really was opened up in the second half, but Fresno's done a tremendous job here in being able to run their offense.
That was one of those games, though, that you really never had the idea that New Mexico State would win the game. You had the idea that they might play them close, and every time they got it under 10, you said, oh boy, isn't that special. But I think with Fresno State, there were a couple of minutes in this game where you and I actually thought they might be able to do this. We got a timeout. Jerry Tarkanian wants to talk it over. His team now getting a little comfort zone. They lead by 14. We'll be back.
To those import owners who said they would drive an American luxury car when they make one good enough, here's one that's much, much more than good enough. Test drive the 1991 Buick Park Avenue and see how good the great American beauty truly is. Park Avenue from Buick, the new symbol for quality in America and beyond.
Over the next few months, I'll be analyzing the long-distance bills of small businesses all over America to show they're bigger than they should be. The point? To prove MCI Preferred, our ingenious new service for smaller businesses, can save you time, aggravation, and money. For some companies, savings of up to a month and a half of their long-distance charges. To find out more, call this number. As good as MCI Preferred is, it can't pick up the phone for you. That you still have to do for yourself.
More and more men all over America are discovering a new way to relax. They're called Hager Easies. And they're the kind of pants that feel great for doing just about everything, or nothing at all. Because Hager Easies are cotton. So no matter what you're doing, you can feel comfortable just being yourself. Hager, a feel for America.
To the court following the decision of the game.
Here's the storyline in this one, Mario, and it's nice in a UNLV game to have one.
Exactly. Usually the start of the game is where teams get blown out, but Fresno did a great job coming off with that quick run at 16-6 lead. And Carl Ray Harris right now with 16 points on 7-11. UNLV, the second half is where they took it over. They're shooting 60%, and what a difference for Anderson Hunt in this half. 17 points, and he's gotten the three-pointer going here. He's now 5 out of 13 after struggling where he was 1 for 9.
And at the beginning of this game, we talked about how one Las Vegas player picks up the other. And if you look at their scoring off the front line, it's just indicative. It's almost the same graphic we showed you at the beginning of the program, isn't it?
It's exactly it. Balanced scoring. Johnson, he's got 9 in the second half for 15, and Hunt with the 14. But even Ogden and Ankin are into it now as well.
And Johnson takes it right to the basket.
We talked about at the top of the second half, Johnson only had 6 points in the first half, a very quiet 6. They needed to get him going. Little zone right now by UNLV. They're back in that matchup. Now they switch it up again, go back to the man.
That's Hooker with a good look. Missed the shot. Johnson went for the rebound, and Fritz Bernard into the cheap seats. A reminder that at 6:30 Eastern Time, we'll bring you up to date with the most comprehensive look that you can find of the NCAA pairings. They, of course, will be announced right about that time. We'll be 1 second behind everybody else, but I'll tell you what, you're going to learn a lot more if you watch it right here. 1 hour special. Chris Fowler will be in the studio along with Dick Vitale, Rick Pitino, Cast of Thousands. We will analyze it. We'll tell you about it. They want us to use the word comprehensive, so I promise you, you'll comprehend the whole thing.
With that group in there, you're going to comprehend a lot.
I'll tell you what.
That is a talented group in that studio today.
We're going to comprehend your butt off. You'll be so comprehended.
Question is, who's going to share the microphone in there?
Chris is going to be wearing a striped shirt. Harris stepped in early, but Johnson got it down anyway.
That's a great matchup with Valvano, Vitale, and Pitino in there. They're really going to be going at it.
Riddlesberger intercepted the pass for Barnett. It was intended for Bernard.
Now you're really starting to see it slip away right now from Fresno. They fought so hard this entire game, but there's no quit. They continue to battle.
Well, I'm sure Fresno's thinking of this game as well as should as the first game of next year. On again. Bottom of the net that time. He's getting better. He's down about the last 2
3-point basket.
The thing you like about UNLV is their mental attitude. Hunt struggled the whole first half, and yet he just kept shooting the basketball. Sooner or later, he knows the ball's going to go down because he has the ability to put it.
Bernard misses his 3, 1 shot only. Anthony the rebound. Hunt with 17 in the second half. There's Johnson underneath. Comes down, goes up. Bernard fouled him. Hooker fouled him, actually.
You know, Beard, right now I see a tired basketball team on Fresno State. You know, they're not a deep team. They really only play 5 to 7 players in a basketball game. And we got to realize now, they have played 3 games in less than 40 hours. And 2 highly emotional games. The big one Friday, knocking off New Mexico State. And then coming back last night and beating Pacific. The letdown game could have been last night, but they didn't allow it. That's the kind of mental attitude that they have. It's really a positive for Gary Colson in the future as he builds this program.
And I think at this point, too, it's probably mental exhaustion as much as physical exhaustion. They have been right on the edge up until about the last 3 minutes. Now you can just see it, as you said, just kind of start to slip away, and Vegas has got it in high gear.
You talked about UNLV on the other hand. They looked real fresh. And Tarkanian made a good move, pulling the starters out with 10 minutes to go in the game last night. That's something he doesn't usually do. He likes the players to be able to get their points.
That's Hooker down low.
Asking by Wilbert Hooker.
Hooker's got 16.
Larry Johnson still looking for the ball inside.
He's wearing Bernard out right now. Too hard that time. Ogden kept it alive, knocked it out of bounds, though. It'll be Fresno State's ball. You know, what's really remarkable about UNLV is it literally seems like seconds ago that this was an 8-point game. It's 21 now.
They're explosive. They can just take it over.
Spencer blocked that shot of Harris's, and a foul's called on Riddlesberger on the rebound over the top of Ogden. Let's take a look at the all-conference team in the Big West Conference. And this, like so many conferences, especially out here on the West Coast, very young conference. A lot of these players coming back next year. Well, not a lot of these players. Johnson's not, Ogden's not, Anthony's not. Anderson Hunt will be back. Randy Brown will graduate. Boy, did I lie to you, didn't I? Reggie Jordan graduates. But other than that, they're all coming back.
There you go. The thing I want to know is, hey, they've got 4 of the 5 UNLV players on there. Why not have Eccles on there and round it out by having the Coach of the Year, Jerry Tarkanian, in there as well?
Jerry knows he's got this one in the bag now. He's thinking about, what am I going to say to the ESPN people about the draw? We're going to have him on in that show we told you about, 6:30 Eastern Time.
I'll tell you, Barry, it is amazing to me what Jerry Tarkanian has gone through in the last 2 years. Despite all the adversity, despite all the distractions, he still has been able to keep this team so focused every game. And there's a genuine love between him and his players. This is a very special group that he has out here.
Yeah, he's made that point on numerous occasions, talked about how much he likes this particular group of kids. He said he's had other teams that he's liked, but there's just something special about this team.
You see it reciprocate with the loyalty out of Ogden and Johnson, who could have been millionaires right now going into the NBA. They decided to come back and make another run at it.
Anthony's already a millionaire.
He's a businessman and he's going to be a politician one day, too, so he's got it covered on both angles.
Why not? That's poetic justice, I think.
Do you like how Hunt looked over at us, Barry, on that after he hit the shot, kind of rolled his eyes like, hey,
said, I'm going to be all right.
And now it's finally going down. It just takes me a little bit of time to get it going.
Bernard. Little payback.
Three-point basket by Todd Bernard.
I already like Todd Bernard. He's an NBA-type ball player. Guy who's having to play out of position, but next year, if the recruits are going to be able to get in, if the big guys at Fresno, he'll be able to go back to his normal 3 spot.
Yeah, he's back. Hooker's back. Hooker's going to cause a lot of problems in this conference.
Yeah, the only key guy they're losing is Barnett, the point guard.
33, Todd Bernard, fourth personal, 10th team foul at
as a
Fresno
point guard. There's Anderson Hunt. What a difference the second half makes.
And he missed his first 2 of the second half, too.
Great Anthony. Larry Johnson at the line for Las Vegas.
H. Waldman has come into the ball game now, and Greg Anthony will sit it out, I'm sure, for the duration.
It's a well-deserved rest for Greg Anthony. He plays a lot of minutes. You know, one of the best lines I've heard about Larry Johnson was Dave Bliss, coach down in New Mexico, and he was at SMU when SMU was really trying to get Johnson to go to school there before he decided to go over to the JC rank. He said Larry Johnson will win more basketball games off the floor for you than on the floor. And that was an omen for last season because that's exactly the kind of cohesiveness that he brought to this basketball team.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Team really changed when he came on board. It was always a talented team. And a reminder, 6:30, special show on the NCAA tournament draw. An official timeout here. That'll be at 6:30, just an hour after we get off the air. Jerry Tarkanian has told us that he will join us on that show. He'll be talking with Chris Fowler, Dick Vitale, Rick Pitino, Jim Valvano. Palladini, you should be there.
I was going to say,
you have to have your name in a vowel.
It's quite an Italian connection in the studio.
not sure they'll really analyze
Clock reset to
it. It's always
28
great to
seconds.
speculate on who's going to do what to whom in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, but I like that group in there because those are guys who really understand the game and really analyze it well. Little zone defense right now by UNLV. They'll throw a zone like this when they have a big lead. They're kind of pulling back a little bit. What they do is they're able to get the opponent, in this case Fresno, to have to work the clock a little bit.
What do you think the odds on Georgia State winning the tournament will be?
You tell me. You cover all those boxing matches up in Las Vegas for ESPN. You tell me the odds.
Well, actually, the truth of the matter is, if they're playing Las Vegas, there are no odds.
There you go.
Now George Tarkanian will finally go into the heart of his bench as Travis Bice comes on. Stacey Augman leaves, Anderson Hunt leaves, Larry Johnson leaves, the heart and the soul of this running Rebel team. That's an appreciative round of applause, not only from the UNLV fans here in Long Beach, but also from the Fresno State fans. You can't help but sit back and just admire what this team does.
And you got to look at it and say, this is one of the greatest college basketball teams of all time. And the interesting thing about these teams in the Big West Conference is they get a chance to see them twice a year, and even more so in the tournament. They're playing one of the greatest teams of all time. It's something people to think back about when they get to be older, sitting back watching games on ESPN on Sunday afternoons.
Everett Gray, his stutter step, started around Lambert. Rich Waldman will be the point guard for this team next year. Travis Bice, he can shoot the three. And here's Spencer, who'll be back for more next year. A little jump hook.
Basket by Elmore
Spencer come tournament time because they're going to go up against big teams. A team like Arizona, I think, is a team that could give this team a little bit of trouble because they've got that big front line.
Carl Ray Harris has 20 points.
Nice look by Waldman.
Basket by
Tackles at the other end.
Nice to see how the bench for UNLV just comes in and picks up where the Stars leave off. There's no drop-off with this team. They play with the same intensity, whether it's the last guy on the team or the first guy on the team.
Now, we mentioned this yesterday, but in the game against Louisville, they were ahead by about 29, and they wound up winning it by a dozen or so. There's Waldman. Nice pass, but Gray couldn't quite hold on. And Jerry Tarkanian was really upset, and so were the starters with the reserves because they were playing a lot of one-on-one basketball, a lot of individual, not playing in the team concept, and they gave up 17 points of that 29-point lead. And even though UNLV won the game handily, they were really upset about it.
He really does. I've seen him call timeouts, bring him down and chew on him for doing just that. He expects a lot, but he gets a lot in return.
It's going to be out of bounds to Fresno State. And it's interesting, too, that here it is, a 24-point game, and you got to say Fresno State played them tough, played them real tough.
As I said, they played them the best that I've seen in the Big West Conference this year, no doubt about that.
There's Bernard.
Three-point basket by Todd Bernard. Three-point basket.
And they're still fighting. Bernard hits the three, Hooker comes back down, forces the turnover. That's Jerry Colson's style. You know, he's an easygoing guy off the floor, but he's an intense competitor, a guy who wants and expects to win. Did a great job turning around programs at Valdosta State. Pepperdine, where he had Dennis Johnson, and New Mexico State took that Scandal program and made it a winner.
Oh, Everett Gray puts a little exclamation point on this one. I think he went to George Ackles after that slam that Ackles made yesterday. He said, how'd you do that? Ackles said, here's what you do, and he went out and did it. Foul call on H. Waldman. Could go against Spencer. Might be away from the ball.
31-8.
We'll call it against Waldman.
A lot of speculation about Coach Tarkanian's future now as well. Will this be the swan song for him if they can win the national championship again twice in a row? Will he retire? Some talk about him maybe going on to the NBA. One thing I think they should do, I think it's about time that he's considered for the Basketball Hall of Fame. They put a great one in there this year in Bobby Knight. I think it's time that they take a look at putting Jerry Tarkanian in there. He's won 83% of his games in college basketball. That's unbelievable.
If numbers tell a story, you can't deny them. He has said on numerous occasions, as you look at some of the other scores from the Southwest Conference, Arkansas winning handily, Alabama beating Tennessee, and they're playing without Robert Horry.
And Todd Menard.
Tarka said on numerous occasions that he would be back next year, but that was earlier in the season.
Yeah, I heard him the other day admit that he really is possibly considering the NBA only because he's getting tired of what's been going on over the years with the NCAA, and be a test for him to see what happens with this group.
There's another groundswell here in Los Angeles of rumors surfacing in the last few days about he and the Clippers. And I emphasize the word rumors.
I agree. I think it's a rumor. Leave it at that. He's not used to losing.
No, that's right. Barnett will sit.
Great effort by the senior. They're going to lose Barnett. What a great job he did. Transferring from Fresno City College last year and really out of position, learning to play the point guard role, and finished third in the conference in assists, almost 7 a game.
Rice in the ball game. Now Travis Weiss off the last one go, and Rice to follow, but Ackles makes certain about it. Rice is a guy who will go through life with his name and then comma Rhodes Scholar candidate.
That's not bad. Rhodes Scholar candidate, NCAA championship team. I like that.
Yeah, it does have
That's
a ring
the
to
ultimate
it,
goal right there.
But it's like whenever they talk about Rice, they say Rhodes Scholar candidate. It's like, well, she has a great personality.
He's a great kid. He really is.
Yeah, he is.
Great young McClain for Fresno.
I got a couple politicians on his team. I mean, he's another one. It's amazing, these guys, with the visibility they have. They enjoy it. They really like it. Anthony's a member of the Young Republicans. He works in Washington, D.C. as a lobbyist in the summertime. And Rice the same way, very active.
Well, in Las Vegas, there's a special relationship between the city of Las Vegas and the Runnin' Rebels. It really is unlike anything I've seen in college basketball because it takes over the whole city. It's not just a particular portion or university community. Rice with a basket.
By Dave Rice.
And with 9 ticks left, UNLV will move into the first round of the NCAA tournament as the #1 seed in the West. 41 games in a row. Jerry Tarkanian will get out of Dodge, having won 85 in a row here at Long Beach.
I wonder if the city council in Long Beach is going to hire him as a mayor. There's a possibility for him after he gets out of coaching. He can be the mayor of Long Beach.
I think they might want to lock the gates to the town and not let him back in here.
You know, he has never lost a basketball game in this town, both here at the arena and over at the campus gym on Long Beach. They used to play most of their games when he was the coach at Long Beach State, right here in the Long Beach arena.
They did lose once to Long Beach State when he was at Las Vegas, but that was down in Orange County.
Down in Anaheim Convention Center.
Jeter to Rice, off the glass and in.
Basket by Dave Rice.
And that is it. So Jerry Tarkanian put his coat on, walk out of town, 98-74 winners. Gary Colson needs to be congratulated almost as much as Tarkanian. He had his team ready to play. There was no dog in the dogs. They got close. They lose by 14. 98-74 the final.
Speaking of heavyweights, Vegas has just won the Big West title. A 1-point halftime lead turns into a 24-point victory, 98-74 over Fresno State. Meanwhile, in the SEC, Tennessee's glass slipper getting crushed right now. The Cinderella Vols. Alabama is running away with it. 9 minutes to play. They have an 18-point lead now. Southwest Conference, Arkansas started out the second half on a 12-0 run to break this game open. Now with 17 minutes to play, they lead Texas by 18 points, trying to salvage their top seed in that region. Meanwhile, speaking of top seeds, the ACC championship game, North Carolina and Duke Duke swept the regular season series, but this is a whole different season, as the Blue Devils would find out in the Charlotte Coliseum this afternoon. Bobby Hurley, sometimes he has trouble against Carolina. Played well game down there in Dean Smith Center in the regular season, but not today. The steal, the layup right there by Rick Fox. Then Hurley will get trapped by the Carolina pressure. The Tar Heels were aggressive, just throws the errant pass, tries to get it to McCaffrey, and Hubert Davis retrieves it and lays it in on the other end. The Tar Heels defense continued. Thomas Hill rejected. Derek Phelps says, get it out of here. And Carolina's half-court offense running smoothly. King Rice finding Rick Fox on the cutter right there. Fox finishes nicely. And Coach Krzyzewski trying to get his team going. They never did get going. 96-74 is the final, as Rick Fox had 25 points. Carolina the top seed, and now it appears the top seed in the East Regional. But what does this say now for Duke, Rick, going into the tournament on the heels of such a blowout loss?
Well, again, Chris, it goes back to that theory of two teams close in ability, one team sweeping the other. Very difficult to beat a team 3 times in a row. But I think Duke will come back stronger than ever. This type of little adversity will make Duke a strong team come tournament play. Mike Krzyzewski gets his team ready to play. They're a mature basketball team.
They will have to leave that East region probably that they've enjoyed so much over the years. Now in the Big Ten, Ohio State taking on Iowa. This
to the end. It's a team without a high draft pick. I know you're going to say that Calbert Chaney is a first-round draft pick, and yes, he may be. But this is not a team that showcases a lot of stars. This is a team that plays with great chemistry.
We'll take a look now. What we project will be the top 4 seeds when the brackets are released in a little over an hour. Vegas, of course, is locked. Indiana, we think, may have grabbed the top seed by virtue of Ohio State's 2 losses this week. Arkansas, assuming they hold on against Texas, will get the Southeast Regional top seed, and North Carolina, by winning the ACC game, rather, should be the top seed in the East. We'll continue with more when we come back. Trying to play a spoiler's role against Nebraska. The Huskers, a great story. They had a terrible season a year ago, but Danny Nee has built that program back up. They're in the championship game of the Big 8 by beating Oklahoma, and then